Hi friends, welcome to my channel Studies in English Literature and Language, and today I will discuss with you one of the iconic texts on partition that changed the sense of belonging on the part of the people of Indian subcontinent after 1947. And the name of this iconic short story is Toba Tek Singh, and it is written by Sadat Hossain Manto. You all know, friends, that in 1947 Indian subcontinent was divided into two parts, India and Pakistan, on the basis of religious identity of the people. Pakistan was declared a Muslim country and India was a secular country, though in India Hindu people are the majority. And Sadat Hossain Manto also was a victim of partition. He earlier lived in Bombay and he was extremely successful in his own field in Bombay. But after partition, he had to leave Bombay and move to Lahore. Though there he became also successful, but still he had to leave the place of his belonging. And the story Toba Tek Singh was published in the year 1955, and it is a story about partition. It is also set in Lahore asylum, and what Manto does here is that he presents everything related to the partition in a pseudo-journalistic manner, in an extremely detached way. He never probes into the minds of his characters. Rather, he presents what he finds going on outside, and it makes his narration in the story sinister in quality. And what we will find in the story is that after partition, after 3 or 2 years of partition, a decision was taken by the bureaucrats of our country that now the lunatics will be exchanged. It is actually an extremely partial decision because lunatics are exchanged, and it sounds also extremely partial, extremely nonsensical decision. And bureaucrats who had no contact with the common people of the society, they took this type of decision rising on the wings of poesy in their own ivory towers. And here also the bureaucrats took this type of decision, and when this decision came, or when the news of this decision came in the Lahore asylum, there was a huge pandemonium among the lunatics. Some lunatics thought that they would remain in Pakistan, some thought that they would move in India. Actually, they had no idea about what is India or what is Pakistan. There was no information regarding this type of partition in the Lahore asylum, and these people had no individual agency in this type of decision making. Even the guards of the asylum, they were also ignorant of the whereabouts of India and Pakistan. And in that asylum, there lived a lunatic named Bishan Singh. He was earlier a zamindar, and there he became mad, and then his relatives took him to the Lahore asylum. And in that Lahore asylum, as is found in the story, he has been living for 15 years. Actually, the lunatics who are living in that asylum, they do not have any access to the outer world. So their knowledge of the outer world is limited. Moreover, they are all irrational. For this reason, they couldn't understand what is India and what is Pakistan. And when the news that the lunatics would be exchanged reached the European cell of the asylum, there were two Europeans living there. And when they heard about this exchange, they became extremely anxious of the fact whether they would be given European food anymore or not. So what we are finding here, that local concerns are becoming evident, but the bureaucrats who are taking this decision of partition, taking the decision of the exchange of lunatics from one country to the another, they do not have any thought about these local concerns. They are only concerned about the grand narrative of partition. To them, these micro narratives are redundant. They are all secondary. And now, coming to the life of Bishan Singh, what we find that Bishan Singh is a kind of landlord. He lived in the village named Toba Tek Singh. And when he came to know that Indian subcontinent has been divided into two parts, that means India and Pakistan, he became extremely anxious about the fact whether Toba Tek Singh is located in Pakistan or in India. But no one gave him any satisfactory answer. Even the officials, they also couldn't give him any type of satisfactory answer. By this, what Manto is implying here, what the author is implying here is that the grand narrative of cartography is concerned with the big cities, with the big names, but the local villages, they are not given any priority. It might be the case that this type of villages have been renamed or they have been totally erased from the cartography, from the maps, but the bureaucrats are not concerned about these micro narratives. And next comes another important issue, that when the news of exchange reached Lahore asylum, some people thought, some lunatic thoughts, that their language is Urdu. So when they will be shifted to India, in which language they will speak then? Thus linguistic identity becomes the concerning fact here. But the bureaucrats who are taking the decision of exchange or of partition, they do not attend to these concerns. And now what we find, that Bishan Singh in this narrative always talks a kind of grievous word, a kind of nonsensical words. And in those talks, one factor, one matter becomes principal one, and that matter is related to Moog Dal. And here this Moog Dal is the symbolic one. It is symbolic of the common existence of people, of the common people's living style. And now when the news of this exchange is spread, even those people who belong to other religious community came to visit the lunatics of the asylum. And one such man was a Muslim one, Faizuddin, and that man also came there, also came in the lunatic asylum to meet Bishan Singh, and Bishan Singh couldn't recognize him. But that man gave Bishan Singh some important news. That man gave Bishan Singh important news regarding Bishan Singh's family. He told Bishan Singh that his family members have gone to India safely. But when that man is talking about the daughter of Bishan Singh, there is a kind of silence, and it is extremely sinister silence. Perhaps through this silence, that man perhaps wants to tell Bishan Singh that his daughter Rup Kaur might have been violated, might have been raped, or might have been kidnapped. Actually, during partition, several mishaps happened to several ladies belonging to different religious communities. And perhaps here Rup Kaur, who is the daughter of Bishan Singh, might have had such type of mishap in her life. And now, when that particular day of exchange occurs, Bishan Singh went to Wagha border along with other lunatics. Most of the lunatics were unwilling to leave Pakistan and to move to India, but they had to go because this is the bureaucratic decision. Bureaucrats, they have planned this in this way. So you have to keep yourselves in line with the decision of the bureaucrats. And when the turn came for Bishan Singh, he didn't give agreement to this exchange. He asked the official whether Toba Tek Singh is in India or in Pakistan. But the official, in a mocking tone, told Bishan Singh that Toba Tek Singh is in Pakistan. And that matter totally shocked Bishan Singh, and he at once told them that I wouldn't go to India because Toba Tek Singh is in Pakistan and my sense of belonging is totally attached with Toba Tek Singh. Actually, Toba Tek Singh and Bishan Singh became synonymous. His all concerns are related with Toba Tek Singh. Actually, he has become akin with the place of his brought up, with the place of his living. But none couldn't provide him any satisfactory answer where Toba Tek Singh is. And now the guards tried to send him across the border, but he couldn't. And then he spent the whole night in the no man's land. And at the peep of dawn, just before sunrise, they all found Bishan Singh had screamed and he has fallen to the ground and he is dead. So Bishan Singh died at the concluding part of the story in the no man's land. Actually, this ending is extremely significant. Here, no man's land is the symbolic space. It is the symbol of memory. It is the symbol of oblivion. It is the symbol of Toba Tek Singh. Through his death in the no man's land, Bishan Singh actually wants to reaffirm his individual agency, which is muted by the bureaucrats, which is muted in this system of bureaucracy. And Bishan Singh, by dying in this no man's land, he wants to free himself from the formation of these nation states. He doesn't want to belong to these newly formed nations. He thinks that he is a part of the undivided Indian subcontinent. he doesn't belong to either India or Pakistan. Actually, he frees himself from the temporal as well as spatial confinements. He is above those confinements. And I think my reading is perhaps clear, and I have been quite clear to satisfy your concerns regarding this story, Toba Tek Singh. You might be able to view a kind of new direction through this reading of Toba Tek Singh. And if you like this, please like this video and subscribe my channel, and also share this video among your friends and others. And please also tell them to subscribe this video, to subscribe this channel, and to press the bell icon for further confirmations. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks.